All right, are we ready to get started? This is okay. We do have some replacements. You guys didn't get, yeah, okay. Well, because it just happened. Yeah, so unfortunately, but I think we're all pretty much we're good to go. Okay, House Bill 65, Representative Bilo moves not recommended for future legislation.
Yes, and the reason is the New Hampshire DHHS Food Safety Department has made changes to rules, which includes allergy awareness training for restaurant employees. And I do have a note. An individual who has life-threatening allergies to some foods cannot be guaranteed absolute adherence to the rules due to staff shortages.
Perfect.
Yep.
Any discussion on the motion?
Question on the procedure. I don't
Okay.
have anything that says who made the motion. Should I just circle their name?
Yeah, sure.
Is that
Right.
what's all?
Oh yeah, so they don't give you the regular sheets? I would do up here where it says,
Not recommended.
I would just write the name above it.
Okay.
Yes, I would write right up there. Okay. Motion clear? The clerk will call the roll.
All right, we have some substitutions today. Representative Batusik.
Yes.
Representative Bohm. Clerk votes yes. Representative Ham. Representative Doucette.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett. Yeah. Representative Abel. I'm sorry. Yeah.
He's not, Rich is not here.
Okay, the first pass here, I'll mark off absent. Representative Herbert.
Yes.
Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Fargo. She's not here. Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew. Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer.
Yes.
And Chairman Hunt's.
Yes.
So that is that is 4, 9, 10, 16. 16 to 0.
Okay.
That's my practice run. I'll get better at.
Okay. Just getting warmed up. Okay. Okay. So next up is House Bill 245, relative to the definition of grocery or convenience stores. Okay. What do I have on that one? That would be. Okay. That was supposed to be Representative Terry. Okay.
No, I'll report out.
Okay.
It's not recommended for future legislation.
That is correct.
The definition of a convenience store is a store with extended operating hours and in a convenient location, stocking a limited range of household goods, groceries, including beer and wine. The bill's intention was to allow less than a $3,000 inventory of food items. This bill is not recommended because, according to their lobbyist, the store owners do not have an issue with the $3,000 inventory of food and products. The Liquor Enforcement and Licensing Division of the Liquor Commission agreed to make rule changes if needed to fine-tune the food product lists.
Right. And I think that's important. I think that I would be sponsoring legislation for next year to modernize the language. At least enough that I have to do it for my wife because she does not like canned vegetables. She does not believe that's a food product. So we need to clean that up.
That's a vegetable.
So, okay. So the motion is not recommended. Clerk will call the roll.
Representative Batusik.
Yes.
Representative Bohm.
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Ham. Representative Doucette.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett.
Yes.
Representative Herbert.
Yes.
Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew,
Yes.
Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer,
Yes.
and Chairman Hunt.
Yes.
So that's 15-0.
How
think
do we
my-
lose a person?
I think my count was off.
Okay.
Said 15-0.
So we're missing 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
4.
57. All right.
Yeah, amend the last count to 15-0. That
I guess
one's
the first one's 15.
I couldn't
Yeah.
count.
We missed the first
Okay.
one, 16.
House Bill 333, relative to the sale and distribution of Kratom products. Representative Herbert moves not recommended for future legislation. Would you like to speak to your motion?
Just that it's been here several times and it's not really
It has?
been recommended.
Okay, well, I'll help you out on that blurb. Yeah,
I bet
Representative Bartlett.
Bolio is doing the report on this one. So
Oh, also,
shouldn't she have done the?
I had Herbert
For
on my
Kratom?
list.
Oh, okay. So who's? You,
I had
so
Herbert on my list, but
you did. Okay, thank you.
we'll clean it up when I get it. So, okay. Any other discussion on the motion? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Okay, not recommended by Representative Herbert.
Correct.
Representative Matusik.
Yes.
Representative Bohm.
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Ham. Representative Doucette.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett.
Yes.
Representative Herbert.
Yes.
Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew.
Yes.
Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer.
Yes.
And Chairman Hunt.
Yes.
15-0.
Okay. On to the next one. Yeah, he's gonna write. I'll write it for you, right? Or you want to write? When you want to write something, then you email that to me,
Okay.
Chris, and then
Okay.
I will fill it in.
Huh? No, I don't know.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I
Yeah.
just wanted to apologize to the committee for showing up late. I didn't leave enough time. There was a bad traffic jam on Route 101.
Right. Well, I guess that's
It
the
is for
nice thing
me.
about 202. I don't get too much traffic. So, okay. We're glad you're here. All right. House Bill 343, relative to billing for ambulance services. I assume that's Representative Weston, and moves not recommended for future legislation.
We do recommend this for future legislation.
Oh, we do?
Yes. My motion is to recommend for future legislation. And there is considerable need to do something about this issue of reimbursing rural ambulance services. The bill that we have right now does not fit the bill. It's too complex. But we do hope that in next year, there'll be a study committee with all the stakeholders at the table to consider further legislation to deal with this issue. The issue still exists. It has not gone away.
No, I understand that, but I think the idea was that the bill in its current form is not recommended for future legislation. So that, yes, anything that comes that bill, because we'll have other bills that I think that I will be sponsoring bills next year, but I'm just saying we don't recommend this bill in
This
its current
specific bill
this specific bill in its current form.
in its current form, is that all right with you, Anita?
Yes, and Representative Ham and I are going to be working together.
Yeah.
And putting all the
Exactly,
parties together.
exactly.
Yeah.
You-
So it's
but
just
this bill in its current form.
This bill.
But then in the blurb, if you want to write it or if you want to write it, say you're going to put in legislation for next year that will be light, that would try to focus in on the primary issue.
Put it in this coming year. It will be a
You
year
were
from
going to
now.
do a study.
Yes.
You're right.
We're gonna
Okay,
do a
so you
study.
can say, you can write that in the blurb.
Okay.
Okay, is
With-
that okay?
Okay, understanding that situation, then I say it's not recommended for future
Thank you.
legislation.
And I'm writing the blurb.
And you can write the blurb.
Okay.
Is that all right with, okay. So, okay. So that's Burrows. No, Burrows.
She's writing the blurb.
Right. So that at this point, it's Burrows.
Okay.
We don't care about. Yeah. Representative Abramson.
I heard you say this last week, but I disagree with the interpretation of the rules that when we recommend for future legislation, we're not saying that last year's bill was appropriate or well-written or on any issue, or that last year's bill was correct. The reason that I voted earlier this year to hold bills for this meeting was that there was something wrong with the bill, but that there was still an issue that needed to be dealt with. When I say recommend for future legislation, I don't mean that specific exact bill. The only purpose of this meeting is whether or not to continue taking that issue forward. And I think that the balanced billing issue is an issue, and I think that future legislation is needed.
Fair enough. Okay. Okay. So the motion is not recommended for future legislation. Now the clerk will call the roll.
Representative Matusek.
Yes.
Representative Bohm.
Yes.
The clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson.
No.
Representative Ham. Representative Doucette.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett.
Yes.
Representative Herbert.
Yes.
Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew.
Yes.
Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer.
Yes.
Chairman Hunt.
Yes.
15 to 1.
Or is it 16 now?
15 to 1.
Oh, 15 to 1.
Yeah.
All right.
15 or 16?
15 to 1.
Yeah.
Because we got the one.
The first one I did was off by 1.
Okay. All right, moving on. Next up is HB 416, allowing hobby distillation of liquors. Representative Patusek moves not recommended for future legislation, and Representative Patusek is recognized to speak to his motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HB 416, allowing the hobby distillation of liquors. The majority of this committee has voted not to recommend further action on this matter. According to U.S. Code, the hobby distillation of alcohol is still primarily a federal matter. It is therefore a moot point whether or not the state of New Hampshire permits it or not. It is still a federally controlled substance. No.
Okay, any more discussion on the motion of not recommended for future legislation? Yes, Representative Bullen.
Just on the principle, so I recalled this after we had our meeting last week. Just on the principle of when you have a federal law that says that you can't do something, and then you also have an overlapping state law that says that you can't do something. If it's our intent to let the federal government handle it, then we should repeal the state law, in my opinion. And secondly, the other reason for doing that is that the sponsors said that we needed to have more states send a message that we didn't want the federal government to ban hobby distillation of spirits or whatever the issue is. I see that there's a law in place, and that law should be removed. The state law should be removed because it doesn't make sense to have both the state and the federal government duplicating something. It also doesn't make sense to say that we're just going to wait until the federal government removes a rule before we do so, because it's another year or 2 years to get through the legislative process to repeal some rule, perhaps after the federal government has done so.
Okay, so just so everybody remember, we actually passed legislation last year that lowered the fee that it was required for someone who was doing a hobby distillation now. In other words, you could distill at home. All you have to do is get a federal license, A, and B, you then pay a new lower from $1,500 to $300 state license, and you too can distill at home. Yes, Representative Bowen, what is your question or comment?
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm a co-sponsor on this bill.
Oh, great.
And for the last 2 terms, the thing is, it's what Representative Patuchuk said, it's federal against it. The federal also says marijuana is illegal, yet we're ignoring that. So the whole argument about just because the federal government says no, we have to say no. We don't say no on everything the federal government says. So the point is I know some wine and beer makers that would like to also do this, but not for sale. I mean, for personal use and that kind of thing. And you can go online and buy distillers. I mean, they
That's
say
true.
for making perfume, but we know that's
No,
not-
they actually, some of them will say right out front that it's for distilling.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
But so, and my whole thing on Unum study, I've said this on other committees, really doesn't matter what we say. Anybody can put in the bill one way or in another. This just says, last year, the Unum study said to bring this forward or not bring this forward. That's it. But anybody can still bring the bill forward.
Absolutely.
And I
That's-
know
that's
for
not
sure
bargaining.
it'll probably, Representative Wallace and I will probably still put in a bill.
We look forward to seeing it again next year.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Any other discussion on the motion of not recommended for future legislation? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Representative Patusic,
Yes.
Representative Bohm,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson,
No.
Representative Ham, Representative Doucette,
Yes.
Representative McDonald,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Terry. Representative Bartlett,
Yes.
Representative Herbert,
Yes.
Representative Van Houten,
Yes.
Representative Weston,
Yes.
Representative Bellew,
Yes.
Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer
No.
and Chairman Hunt.
Yes.
So 15-2.
14-2.
We had a new rival, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, all right, I take it back. Okay. All right, moving right along. House Bill 488, establishing a committee to study the benefits of allowing New Hampshire citizens to purchase health insurance from out-of-state companies. Where am I? Representative Bartlett, you signed up for that one? Bourbon. Or do I do that one?
That's me.
Okay,
Um,
Representative Bartlett is recognized to speak to our motion.
Okay, thanks. Let's see, this is establishing committee to study the benefits of allowing New Hampshire citizens to purchase health insurance from out-of-state companies. The motion is not recommended for future legislation. This committee continues to believe that consumers are better served by purchasing insurance from companies licensed and regulated by the New Hampshire Insurance Department. If it were just under consumer protection statutes, companies would be subject to triple damages, and companies don't want to enter the state under those statutes. So that would be my motion.
Okay, any discussion on them? Okay, you understand you only get to ask one question per bill. Okay, yes, Representative
So
Abrams.
the study committee is obviously only a study committee. I usually vote against study committees, except when this bill was brought up a few years ago before this committee, and the issue's been brought up, of course, before other committees. The question was, what was the benefit? And of course, the number one issue brought up is cost savings. So the previous insurance commissioner said that the state might save 10% or consumers might save 10%, then later 7 and then 5. So the importance of the study committee is, one, to figure out what's the benefit in terms of cost savings, but the other benefit, other benefits could be easier access to doctors or medical care, or greater competition, or greater quality of service, or greater quality of customer service, or whatnot. So I felt that the study committee was necessary before we could go forward with other legislation. Obviously, the New Hampshire Republican platform says guaranteeing people the ability to buy health insurance across state lines if they so choose. And for those two reasons, I'm voting no on the motion.
Mr. Chair, can I make a statement?
Representative Bealow,
I am so tired of hearing the Republican platform. We are working for the citizens of New Hampshire and not for the Republican Party. Thank you.
I would have to, no, I'm going to respond. And I would say is, I've asked you in the past to not bring up party platform issues in the committee. That is something you leave for the caucus When we're in caucus, you can talk about the platform all you want. But when you're in session, when we're in executive session or on the House floor for that matter, either times you do not mention a party platform issue.
Can I
Please.
respond to that?
Take it for what it's worth, Max.
Okay.
Take it for what it's worth.
So
okay,
I-
that's my request to
I
you.
100% disagree with you, and the reason is many of us from this term and previous terms, when we campaigned, people would ask, what are you for? When I go door to door, I go door to door when I campaign, and they say, well, what are you for? And I say, I'm a platform Republican. I let people know before the election, this is how I vote, and I vote 85, 90% of the time with the Republican platform.
I
we're
appreciate that. I
letting
don't want
people
to.
know.
I don't want to belabor this. Okay, Max.
So
I've
I
asked you.
I just don't agree with you.
Please, for the rest of the day, do not mention the party platform. Please, thank you. Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
thank you. Just a quick comment. In respect to everyone here, those people watching and those people for whom these bills are important, I respectfully request that you keep all of the comments salient to the bills beforehand, and any extraneous conversation can happen outside of this committee. Thank you.
She's asking me not to do what I just did. So, okay. Moving on. Right, so the motion is clear and not recommended for future legislation. The clerk will call the roll.
All right, Representative Patusek.
Yes.
Representative Bohm.
Yes.
Representative Ammon votes yes. Representative Abramson.
No.
Representative Ham. Representative Doucette. Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett.
Yes.
Representative Herbert.
Yes.
Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew.
Yes.
Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer.
Yes.
Chairman Hunt,
Yes.
16-1.
Okay. House Bill 592, requiring bond for pharmaceutical companies providing vaccines. So unfortunately, Representative Greason is not here, but I will make the motion of not recommended for future legislation, and he will write the blurb when he gets it. But the point being is that at this point in time, this legislation is really not necessary. The issue is still there, but that at this point we don't need this bill at this point. Any other discussion on the motion of not recommended for future legislation? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Representative Patusek.
Yes.
Representative Bohm.
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson.
No.
Representative Ham. Representative Doucette.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett.
Yes.
Representative Herbert.
Yes.
Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew.
Yes.
Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer.
Yes.
Chairman Hunt,
Yes.
16-1.
Okay. House Bill 1019, establishing a committee to study the replacement of certain professional licenses with mandatory minimum liability insurance requirements. That's Representative Bartlett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My motion would be not recommended for future legislation.
And are you, want to speak to the question?
Thank you. An insurance policy does not take the place of licensing requirements enforced by the state. If enacted, the insurance company can deny or cancel coverage. Insurance premiums would be much higher if available at all, et cetera, et cetera. You said to
didn't write
keep
that
them-
in your blurb,
You
did
said to keep them short,
Didn't write
so
that
I
in
am.
your blurb. I will elaborate a little bit more on that one. Okay. So motion, Representative, are you going to speak on every one of these?
If I'm voting against the majority motion.
Okay, go ahead.
So I disagree with the majority motion. I believe that the issue is worthy of study, and the reason is something that the chairman brought up last week, that anything under the Consumer Protection Act and almost anything in general that we handle through our courts, people need to have recourse. There are lots of professional licensing. 30% of workers now have to get a state professional license. It can be an onerous process. But my other concern was for consumers, that consumers, if someone has a state license, but they don't have business insurance, they don't have an insurance policy available, you have no one to go after. And I felt that from the consumer's vantage point, looking at one piece of paper versus different piece of paper, to make sure that someone is actually able to do the job, I felt that the insurance companies, in my experience, have had a tendency, especially if they're carrying a heavy policy, to do due diligence and make sure that not only do people show that they have the skills, but also maintain them, do random inspections and whatnot on equipment. So I felt that the bill was worth study, or the issue was worth study.
Okay. The motion is not recommended for future legislation. Clerk will call the roll.
Representative Matusik,
Yes.
Representative Bohm,
Yes.
Representative Ammon votes yes. Representative Abramson,
No?
Representative Ham, Representative Doucette,
Yes.
Representative McDonald,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Terry,
Yes.
Representative Bartlett,
Yes.
Representative Herbert,
Yes.
Representative Van Houten,
Yes.
Representative Weston,
Yes.
Representative Bellew,
Yes.
Representative Burrows,
Yes.
Representative McAleer,
Yes.
and Chairman Hunt,
Yes.
16-1.
Okay. House Bill 1028, relative to the form of individual health insurance policies. I assume this is yours, Representative Bartlett? Yep.
Thank you.
Moves
Okay.
not recommended for future legislation and is recognized to speak to her motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Individual policies with abbreviated coverage, these are the types of policies that are available. These are also, I believe, for small group, as I remember was it just individual?
It's an
It
individual.
was just individual, okay. I haven't gone back into my notes. They cannot meet the federal requirements and still be profitable. Insurance Department has opposed it, and therefore, I don't recommend it.
Okay. Any more discussion on the motion of not recommended for future legislation? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Representative Matusik,
Yes.
Representative Bohm,
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson,
No?
Representative Ham, Representative Doucette,
Yes.
Representative McDonald,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Terry,
Yes.
Representative Bartlett,
Yes.
Representative Abel.
Not here.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to cross it off. Representative Herbert,
Yes.
Representative Van Houten,
Yes.
Representative Weston,
Yes.
Representative Bellew,
Yes.
Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer,
Yes.
and Chairman Hunt,
Yes.
16-1.
Okay. House Bill 1162, relative to requiring insurance coverage for vaccinations, devices, and medications authorized for emergency use by the United States Food and Drug Administration. This is another bill that Representative Greason was going to carry, so I will carry forward, not recommending for future legislation. Is there any discussion on the motion?
No, I was going to, yeah.
Are you on that one? I'm sorry.
I think I,
Oh, I take it back. All right. Yes,
Right.
Representative Bolio.
right, yeah, it's not recommended for future legislation because there is insurance coverage according to the New Hampshire Insurance Department. You can find that information on the legal information page, docket number 20-016-AP. That's it.
Okay. Any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Representative Matusik,
Yes.
Representative Bohm,
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson,
Aye.
Representative Ham, Representative Doucette,
Yes.
Representative McDonald,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett.
Yes.
Representative Herbert.
Yes.
Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew. Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer.
Yes.
Chairman Hunt.
Yes.
17-0.
Okay. All right. Next up, House Bill 1245, relative co-payments for services rendered by a chiropractor. Okay, Representative Bartlett recommends not recommend for future legislation. Representative Bartlett is recognized to speak to her motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We heard testimony on this that went on for quite a while during the public hearing. And one of the things we have to always keep in mind is that the more the insurance companies are required to pay, the higher the premiums are going to be. This bill would like chiropractic service to be treated as primary care. And it was noted that few would go to their primary care physician as often as they are likely to go to a chiropractor. So the committee's feeling has been that we continue to leave chiropractic as a specialty with a different copay if insurance carriers want to treat it that way.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll on not recommended for future legislation.
Representative Patusek.
Yes.
Representative Bohm.
Yes.
Representative Hammond votes yes. Representative Abramson.
Aye.
Representative Ham.
Yes.
Representative Doucette.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett.
Yes.
Representative Herbert.
Yes.
Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew.
Yes.
Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer.
Yes.
Chairman Hunt.
Yes.
17-0.
Okay. All right. Next up, House Bill 1378, relative to inspection of public lodging houses. This was another one, Representative Greason, I would say is, he wanted to recommend for further legislation. But I'm going to, again, be consistent that I'm not recommending this bill for future legislation. However, I am working on an amendment, a bill for next session to really drive down at this issue because it comes down to is the hotel has to have a policy on what they're going to do. The employee should not be the one who has to make a decision, yes or no, whether you're going to show it, let alone the fact the language is very archaic because I'm pretty sure no hotel out there actually still has the book in which you sign in on. I think it's a privacy problem right out of the get-go that we don't have that anymore. I remember in past years looking at a hotel when I thought somebody was at Eugene McCarthy was at the same hotel I was at. And I remember this was years ago. And I went back looking at the book to see if his name is signed in. So at any rate, I would say that this bill is not recommended for future legislation, but this issue will be back next year. Any discussion on the motion? Representative Abramson.
So I felt that this was not only a Fourth Amendment issue, but so I disagree with your motion. I think that the bill is fine as written. And the statute actually says that all hotel keepers and all persons keeping public lodging and so on shall keep a book or card system and cause each guest to sign in their own legal name. So that mandate is still there. Adding to that, the fact that there was potential for abuse. I asked about that question and got only an assurance from the witness that she would hope that this power wouldn't be abused. So we asked whether or not, say, a sheriff's deputy or an officer should simply have to call in a warrant, which only takes a couple of minutes to do that. I felt that was a right and proper, that's a simple due process constitutional step, that a login like this would be the property of the hotel owner, the property owner, and that when I did ask people their opinion on social media, when I asked my constituents, person to person, they seem to agree that it is a Fourth Amendment issue. And of course, the other issue that was brought up by some members of the committee, that potentially you might have an abusive spouse or boyfriend or some such thing going in and misusing this power to track down their ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend. And we felt, some of us expressed concern that if there isn't some kind of written record, if there isn't some type of search warrant or something that's been logged somewhere, that there's no way to deter the misuse of this power.
Any more discussion on the motion? Oh, Representative Terry.
Yes, on the basis, Mr. Chairman, on the basis of your representations to the committee that you intend to lean in the direction of sympathy of the concern expressed in this bill, and given the fact that it will only be several months before you file your amendment, although I am in sympathy, of course, with Representative Greason, as you know, and some of the concerns expressed by Representative Abramson, I will vote yes on this motion. Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion of not recommended for future legislation? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll. Oh, I'm sorry, Representative McAleer.
No, I would say that I concur with Representative Terry. I have some concerns as well, but again, I think this bill needs to be rewritten with those concerns. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right,
And the motion is made by
by me.
you. All right, calling the roll. Representative Petusic,
Yes.
Representative Bohm,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson,
No?
Representative Ham,
Yes.
Representative Doucette,
Yes.
Representative McDonald,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Terry,
Yes.
Representative Bartlett,
Yes.
Representative Herbert,
Yes.
Representative Van Houten,
Yes.
Representative Weston,
Yes.
Representative Bellew,
Yes.
Representative Burrows,
Yes.
Representative McAleer,
Yes.
and Chairman Hunt,
Yes.
16-1.
Okay. House Bill 1501, relative to insurance coverage for pediatric autoimmune neuropsychiatric disorders. And Representative Herbert.
Yes. It's already been taken care of
Yeah.
according to the insurance company.
Okay.
They do insure it, but it's very rare, and we don't need to pass a bill.
So the bill was to push out the effective date. The department continued to monitor it, and at this point, the sunset is far enough out that we don't need to take this issue up at this time. Any other discussion on the motion of not recommended for future legislation? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
And that is also made by you, Mr.
Yeah, that's fine. It's me. It's, I have a feeling getting a blurb out of you might be a little
Too brief?
too. No, so you're ready to write a blurb? You okay? Okay.
I can do it today. If you want.
Okay, perfect. Representative Herbert.
All right, calling the roll, not recommended. Representative Petusic,
Yes.
Representative Bohm,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson,
Aye.
Representative Ham, Representative De Palma,
Not here.
ID, Doucette,
Yes.
Representative McDonald,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Terry,
Yes.
Representative Bartlett,
Yes.
Representative Herbert,
Yes.
Representative Van Houten,
Yes.
Representative Weston,
Yes.
Representative Bellew, Representative Burrows,
Yes.
Representative McAleer,
Yes.
and Chairman Hunt,
Yes.
17-0.
Okay. HB 1502, relative to digital assets and digital securities. Representative Ammon moves not recommended for future legislation, and he's recognized to speak to his motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So if you recall, House Bill 1502 was rolled into House Bill 1503, and there will be future legislation that has to do with the UCC Code Article 12, minor updates to bring us up to speed. And we're the first state to adopt the full slate of that article. So this bill was not recommended for future legislation.
Okay, and any questions, discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll on not recommended.
Representative Matusik.
Yes.
Representative Bohm.
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson.
Aye.
Representative Ham. Representative Doucette.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett.
Yes.
Representative Abel. I'm sorry, not here. Representative Herbert. Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew.
Yes.
Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer.
Yes.
And Chairman Hunt.
Yes.
17-0.
All right. House Bill 1556, relative to on-premise and off-premise sales at a beverage manufacturer's facility. Representative Matusik recommends not recommend for future legislation, and will speak to his motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Relative to on-premise and off-premise sales at a beverage manufacturer's facility. With cash register technology available in the 21st century, this bill is not needed.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion of not recommended for future legislation? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Representative Matusik.
Yes.
Representative Bohm.
Yes.
Representative Ammon votes yes. Representative Abramson.
No.
Representative Ham.
Yes.
Representative Doucette.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett.
Yes.
Representative Herbert. Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew.
Yes.
Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer.
Yes.
Chairman Hunt.
Yes.
16-1.
So just a reminder on this bill is that the department actually corrected the rule to make sure that there was not an issue. Okay. House Bill 1582, repealing the Granite State Paid Family Leave Plan. And Bartlett, Representative Bartlett, not recommended for future legislation, and Representative Bartlett is recognized to speak to our motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Deputy Commissioners Betancourt and Labors came to testify last week when we got talking about this because they brought up some updated information. MetLife has offered a proposal and submitted rates and that have been approved to become effective 1/1 of 23. They would like to see the program move forward. It is voluntary. It will run for 5 years with an option with MetLife, with an option to request an additional 2 years after that period. And so I am not going to, but my motion is to not recommend that this bill go forward.
Any discussion from the committee? Yeah, Mike.
October 7th to the 20th in the New Hampshire Business Review. There's an article about the ins and outs of the state's paid family leave plan, how the state's new voluntary program works. I think it's very informational. If I can just put that in the folder, that would be great.
Yes, no, I have seen that article, and it was a
Yep.
good article. Okay, clerk will call the roll on not recommended for future legislation.
Representative Matusik.
Yes.
Representative Bohm.
Yeah.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson.
Aye.
Representative Ham.
Yes.
Representative Doucette.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett.
Yes.
Representative Herbert.
Yes.
Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew.
Yes.
Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer.
Yes.
Chairman Hunt,
Yes.
17-0.
Okay, House Bill 1589, prohibiting the sale of products containing intentionally added PFAS. Representative Ammon moves that we not recommend for future legislation. Representative Ammon is recognized to speak to his motion.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. The state of Maine, is my understanding, has attempted to do this and ran into some problems. So that could be one reason to wait. And also, there are many products that have PFAS in them that this could have unintentional consequences of banning necessary products that people use. So with those two reasons, I recommend not for future
Not for
legislation.
Representative Abramson.
Representative Bartlett had her hand up before I did.
Okay, Representative Bartlett.
Thank you, Representative Abramson. Last week, after we had our discussion on this one, Kathy Block from the DES, Department of Environmental Services, came over to me and said that she wanted to make sure that there was something put in the file saying that the Department of Environmental Services is very aware of this situation. They have numerous efforts going into
And a commission.
right, and a commission. That's right. Already in play. I think there's 2 commissions actually in place
Yes, 2
talking about this issue. But if we put something in the blurb so that any sponsor who might come forward in the future knows that there is work going on this one. This particular sponsor didn't, even in the public hearing, didn't really realize how very complicated an issue it is and was not aware of the study commissions in place. So I will be supporting the motion.
Okay. And you'll put that in your.
Yeah, that's new information to me, but I'd happily
Yeah,
put it into the blurb.
Yeah, I was going to make sure it was in. So, Representative Abramson.
So it's something of parliamentary inquiry of the chair. We're saying on some of these bills, we're not going to do anything just the first year, but we'll wait and see what response we get back from a state agency or the federal government. When we're saying to recommend or not recommend, are we saying that this only applies for the first year and we're going to wait and then next year somebody might put in a different bill if new information comes up, or is it for the whole session?
As you know, no legislature can bind a future legislature. So this vote is only saying that at this moment, this bill, as it's written, was not appropriate for future legislation. That's all it says. It does not bind anybody from not putting in legislation come when at the 2 weeks after or 10 days after our election in November, where we have our window of opportunity to put a new bill in. So someone could put in the exact same bill. Someone could put in something different.
But if this is kind of an asking, we're saying we've already
This
gone
bill
over this issue.
in its current
Yep.
form, just as it's written, that's all we are saying here is this bill written this way. It could be written differently and have a totally different vote.
But it's not the specific language or even the issue right now. What we're saying is right now, unless conditions change at the federal level, something changes in the market, something changes in the way we view things, or something changes from different information from a state regulatory agency or an ongoing civil or criminal case. We're saying based on current conditions, we're not recommending something. But if things change, we might change our minds based on changing conditions.
We're saying at this moment, not any time in the future. We cannot have any control over the future. At this moment, this bill, written in this form, this current bill, is not recommended for future legislation. It's all we're doing. Okay. Clerk will call the roll. Not recommended for future legislation.
Representative Patusek.
Yes.
Representative Bohm.
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson.
Aye.
Representative Ham.
Yes.
Representative Doucette.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett.
Yes.
Representative Herbert.
Yes.
Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew.
Yes.
Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer.
Yes.
Chairman Hunt.
Yes.
17-0.
And I know Representative Van Houten would not want me to do this, but I just wanted to know that the NPR story, the New Hampshire NPR story today, I found incredibly enlightening because now I finally realize, how this is getting around, and it's sludge from our town septic or town septic, whatever you call it, systems.
Several years ago regarding sludge and prohibiting the spread of
Sludge on farms.
Sludge on farmlands.
Yeah.
And here you go, 10, 15 years later, there's a problem.
See, you had such insight. Okay, House Bill 1591, eliminating the Enforcement Division of the Liquor Commission. Is that yours? Is that yours? Okay, Representative Patusek.
Okay, 1591 is not,
Put your
Microphone. What did you do to it?
usually I speak loud enough so everybody can hear me.
Okay. Yeah, this is so people at home can hear you.
Oh, okay. HB 2022-1591 FN. The majority of this committee has voted not to recommend further action on this matter. The committee believes that this division is paramount to the ongoing enforcement and education efforts of the New Hampshire Liquor Commission, and that removing or diverting these efforts would be detrimental to the ongoing education of our youth about drug and alcohol abuse and use. Also, the education and enforcement of alcohol laws within the adult provider and consumer communities. Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Representative Abramson.
I agree with the motion, but I would like to add even further that just as some members of the Finance Committee told us, just removing a division or removing an enforcement arm doesn't change anything. The rules are still there, the regulations are still there, the laws are still there, and you would still have to have those laws be enforced. But if you're going to have this enforced as kind of a patchwork in some towns by the town police, and some the code enforcement officer, in some cases the county attorney's office trying to enforce this, you would have inconsistent enforcement of those rules. So if there are people out there who were saying that they wanted to get rid of the enforcement division, maybe they should be targeting the statutes themselves.
Fair enough. No.
Just for a minute.
Yes, you may respond.
I agree with Representative Abramson. I'd rather have a coordinated effort than a helter-skelter enforcement. Thank you.
Okay. The clerk will call the roll on not recommended for future legislation.
Representative Patusek.
Yes.
Representative Bohm.
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson.
Aye.
Representative Ham.
Yes.
Representative Doucette.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett.
Yes.
Representative Herbert.
Yes.
Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew.
Yes.
Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer.
Yes.
Chairman Hunt.
Yes.
17-0.
Okay, great. Next up, 1595, relative to establishing a statewide food truck license. Representative Bealow is not recommended for future legislation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Food truck owners operating in these following cities with health departments shall obtain a city food truck license: Bedford, Berlin, Concord, Derry, Dover, Exeter, Keene, Manchester, Merrimack, Nashua, Plastow, Portsmouth, Rochester, and Salem. This is an example of local control. The state food truck license shall apply to food truck owners operating in all other towns. Note, a food truck owner licensed by the state may purchase a 2-day operating license in cities for a fee for events.
Okay. Anyone discussion on the motion? Representative Abramson.
So I agree that there were problems and issues with the bill, but I support what the bill sponsors were trying to do. And my thought was, what would happen if you had a code enforcement officer going to a food truck and the food truck owner wanted to just obtain a state license because they needed to move from town to town for their particular business? I'm obviously thinking, since I represent the Seacoast, I'm obviously thinking of food truck operators that especially during the busy summer season would tend to move to different parts of the Seacoast. depending on what the traffic is and what the conditions are. And I felt that having a food truck operator have to get a license, different type of license for many different towns, didn't make sense if there was the option to have them just get a state license and just take the test and have the inspections done kind of once and for all.
Okay.
I just want to add to that. My daughter has a food truck in Rye, and she does have a state food truck license, and she's there for the season. So many operators that operate food trucks are in the same area most of the season to make, the most money that they can in that area.
Not that I want to confuse this anymore, but my understanding was even in all those communities, they still require you to have the state license.
State license.
So everybody out there has the state license. What this bill would have said was that no town could regulate it because of someone already having that state license. So it was having the state trump local control. Okay. House Bill 1595, relative to establishing, we just did that. Okay. All right. So the sorry. Okay. The clerk will call the roll.
All right, House Bill 1595.
1595, right.
Not recommended.
Not right.
Representative Petusic.
Yes.
Representative Bohm.
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson.
No.
Representative Ham.
Yes.
Representative Doucette.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett.
Yes.
Representative Herbert.
Yes.
Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew. Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer.
Yes.
Chairman Hunt.
Yes.
16-1.
All right. Senate bills. Senate Bill 68, requiring employer to provide reasonable accommodations for pregnant employees. Representative Johnson. Representative Johnson, not recommended for future legislation because the way the bill is written in its form is it implies that a pregnant employee could come or go as they please rather than the current law, which is that when you're taking time off, it's it. That's the clock, that you can't, even though there was a lot of discussion about just being reasonable in terms of a stool or some seating arrangement, but there was no evidence in which that actually had occurred, that any employer said no, he wouldn't do those kind of accommodations. The heart of the bill was the requirement that the current law, which is that when a pregnant employee is ready to take her leave, she takes it and she can't come back until after the baby is done. Or baby's done. It's done. All right.
Was this a recipe?
So, the event is over. How's that? Okay. Till the birth. Okay. Any discussion on the motion of not recommended for future legislation? Representative Bartlett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would have to say that I'm going to oppose this motion. I do feel that we need to have something codified that does say they need to have accommodations because, we're still talking about a small number of workers. Not everybody's pregnant very often. Then occasionally something does need to be done, and I do think this bill has merit and should move forward.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? Representative Abramson.
So I thought that the issue itself did have merit and did warrant a study committee if another member was thinking of bringing it forward, although I usually don't support study committees. The reason that I felt that the issue was worth some type of action, or at least some investigation on our part, was obviously for the health of the unborn baby and for the mother, that when pregnant mothers put under a lot of stress, physical stress, emotional stress, work-related stress for a long period of time. They can have long-term consequences. I also didn't agree with the way that the bill was written, but I supported the idea of at least keeping the bill alive and keeping the idea alive, to maybe brainstorm and come up with some way to encourage employers to provide better accommodations.
So just to remind you, this vote today is not telling you the plus and minus of the issue. It is this bill, as it's written, it recommended for future legislation. That's what you're voting on. Okay, clerk will call the roll.
Representative Patusek,
Yes.
Representative Bohm,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson,
Aye.
Representative Ham,
Yes.
Representative Doucette,
Yes.
Representative McDonald,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Terry,
Yes.
Representative Bartlett,
No.
Representative Herbert,
No.
Representative Van Houten,
No.
Representative Weston,
No.
Representative Bellew,
No.
Representative Burrows,
No.
Representative McAleer,
No.
and Chairman Hunt.
Yes,
So I have 10-7.
10-7,
10-7.
10-7, 17, right?
And can the minority chime in? No. That's afraid of.
No minority report. Okay. But I will make sure the minority report recognizes the concerns that you have. Yeah. Okay, Senate Bill 121, relative to state-based health exchange. Representative Bartlett.
Thank
Moves
you, Mr.
not recommended for future legislation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Many issues with this bill that the bill does not and cannot address. Perhaps there was discussion that perhaps a study committee could address some of them in the future. The New Hampshire Insurance Department would administer this, and therefore I'm not recommending this bill for future legislation.
Any discussion from the committee? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Representative Patusek,
Yes.
Representative Bohm,
Yes.
clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson,
Aye.
Representative Ham,
Yes.
Representative Doucette,
Yes.
Representative McDonald,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Terry,
Yes.
Representative Bartlett,
Yes.
Representative Herbert,
Yes.
Representative Van Houten,
Yes.
Representative Weston,
Yes.
Representative Bellew,
Yes.
Representative Burrows,
Yes.
Representative McAleer,
Yes.
and Chairman Hunt.
Yes.
17-0.
Okay, Senate Bill 287, relative to balance billing for certain healthcare services. Representative Bartlett, not recommended for future legislation.
I just got to find I did these on the order that we did last week.
Yeah, I
so-
know. I did the same thing.
Okay, relative to balance billing, blah, blah, blah. Not recommend, my motion is not recommended. The New Hampshire Insurance Department's legal, I don't remember what her title is. Michelle Egan, said that this was the National No Surprises Act. And it's been put into New Hampshire law. The dispute resolution issues have been redone by the feds. And the department opposes this bill as written.
No, the department supported this bill.
Well, the changes were made that were necessary,
Yeah,
so it's not,
the
not,
federal
the bill
changes
itself
were
is
made,
not
but
needed.
no, to be perfectly, I mean, nobody here, but yeah, they said, yeah, this is fine, but the concern is that now we have two different statutes.
Right.
And their argument was that New Hampshire citizens would be better served if the issue of the what is the fee that's going to be reimbursed if it was ever contested, which none of them ever have, never been, the department's never had to deal with it since it's been in law now for 2 years, but that they would be more expeditious if you did it in the state level rather than under the federal statute. And so they were making an argument for their, I guess this was a territorial issue.
But I think they still opposed what the bill said.
No, they loved this bill
They loved this because this bill was saying
because it
they were
gave,
going to
gave them the
resolve it.
power to.
Okay, sorry, I
to-
got mixed
to-
up on that
to-
one in my
yeah,
notes.
That's fine. But in the spirit of being fair, I have to be honest.
Yeah, that's
about
fine.
that.
Yeah.
So, okay. Any other discussion on on not recommended for future legislation? Seeing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Representative Matusik.
Yes.
Representative Bohm.
Yes.
Clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson.
Aye.
Representative Ham.
Yes.
Representative Doucette.
Yes.
Representative McDonald.
Yes.
Representative Johnson.
Yes.
Representative Terry.
Yes.
Representative Bartlett.
Yes.
Representative Herbert.
Yes.
Representative Van Houten.
Yes.
Representative Weston.
Yes.
Representative Bellew.
Yes.
Representative Burrows.
Yes.
Representative McAleer.
Yes.
And Chairman Hunt.
Yes.
17-0.
Okay. So 17. So are we last but not least here?
Yep.
Okay. Senate Bill 355, requiring online marketplace to disclose certain information to consumers. And what do we have here? Representative.
I didn't put the name.
Oh, I guess we never did. Anybody want to do this? Otherwise, I'll do it. Anybody want to?
I have Representative Bolio
Oh, Bolio.
to make the motion on this one.
You're
I don't have that on my notes, but I would recommend to move forward with this legislation.
okay. Well, then we don't want your motion then.
Why? I mean, I had
Okay,
it down.
all right,
I had it down as
Representative Hunt. Okay. Well, given that the new person involved who worked for the Retail Merchants Association brought in something that was about Facebook Marketplace, in which the sponsor, when she showed up and heard that that's what he did, was livid because she knew full well this legislation would not have one iota effect on the marketplace, on Facebook Marketplace. So clearly, the bill, and as in its current form, is problematic because it's in the Consumer Protection Statute. And it's not a consumer protection issue. It is a criminal action. That there is criminal activity going on. It's in the wrong statute. And I urge the sponsor that to bring this bill, by assuming she's going to bring it back again next year, to put it in a different statute, put it in a different RSA, a different place that where it truly reflects what she was intending the bill to do.
so it was the statute that was the problem.
That fundamentally the statute is the problem, but enforceability seemed insane. It seemed impossible. I mean, it's
Well, I know that we had
it's a feel good bill that you know.
I mean, certainly we had testimony from an assistant attorney general that showed that it was going to be a problem to
and
enforce.
he made it clear that enforceability would be extremely
So
problematic.
are
But
you-
again, why it reinforces the argument? It should be out of that statute. It should not be in the consumer protection statute. That it should be in the criminal statute if they're gonna go forward with it at all. But again, enforceability across state lines is going to
It's
be.
a pretty complicated issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Yes, Representative Terry.
Mr. Chair, as if we needed more, let me remind all of us that there was also an issue with the dollar limits, that there was a threshold, and the threshold was set high, so high that there would be people who would escape responsibility under the statute because of the dollar threshold limits. So
I think there also had to be
there's-
200
There's a lot of work that really needs to be
200 transactions.
200
$5,000.
transactions.
Yeah,
and
it-
$5,000,
so there's a lot of work that needs to be done on
Okay.
this. It needs to be completely reworked.
Okay, got it.
And there is federal legislation that is modeled, you know, that they're working on, and they keep hoping that it was going to pass, but for some reason it got put off. So, yes, Representative Abramson.
So I do support the bill. I do support the concept, although I recognize that there's a dispute under whether or not it should be handled under the Consumer Protection Act, because this would allow people to have recourse through both civil and criminal courts. I would say that I'm not going to object to it being under the Consumer Protection Act, but I will reemphasize that the problem of organized crime and I mean very well organized, the problem of shoplifting, the problem of having items that are specifically targeted by a group that this is a major international issue. As a matter of fact, a lot of our products get taken out of retail stores and then shipped overseas. They're very large organized groups that are doing this. I have no question in my mind that they'll eventually find some way to get out of this. But if the retail sector is big, we had representatives of retail coming in and saying that they needed this. There are over 20 states where it's passed, either the House or Senate, and quite a few that have passed both houses, both bodies, and been signed into law. The state level, I felt that it really is the state's kind of limited jurisdiction or limited purview to protect us from the wrongdoing of others, to protect us from force and fraud, to protect us from theft and other types of crimes. And there was another argument that I saw online that was made, and that is that there's a lot of fraudulent material that's out there that's being sold online where there's absolutely no way to trace it back. And if people are buying baby formula or food for their kids or some such thing, that there are a lot of safety issues, and people need to be able to trace it back to an actual seller if somebody's a large scale seller. It's I've had to do this, similar type of work for my legislative campaign, just for online advertising. So I don't see that, or even sometimes even just to rent a car, just to put a car on the road. So I don't feel that it's an onerous burden, and I feel that the need to protect the public from fraud and from theft, and the need to protect our retail businesses, small and large, is big enough a concern that I'm willing to, waive my regular philosophy and say that if people are going to sell, they need to be registered so that people do have recourse.
Okay, anybody else? See none, so the motion by me is to not recommend for future legislation.
Representative Patusek,
Yes.
Representative Bohm,
Yeah.
clerk votes yes. Representative Abramson,
No.
Representative Ham,
Yes.
Representative Doucette,
Yes.
Representative McDonald,
Yes.
Representative Johnson,
Yes.
Representative Terry,
Yes.
Representative Bartlett,
Yes.
Representative Herbert, Representative Van Houten,
Yes.
Representative Weston,
Yes.
Representative Bellew,
Nope.
Representative Burrows,
Yes.
Representative McAleer,
Yes.
and Chairman Hunt,
Yes.
15-2.
All right. And with that, we're done. Okay.
Don't forget to fill out your mileage.
Mileage.
And you want these reports by when, Mr. Chair?
I mean, I have allocated my day tomorrow to get this all done. So 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I don't have them all typewritten, but they're all here. Is Carrie going to be typing these out?
Carrie is here. Yeah.
Oh, she is.
Yeah.
So I can give them to her and she can type them out?
She could. Yeah. I mean, normally what they do is they send them to me, I preview and then send them on. So,
Okay, okay.
so if you just want to,
Okay, I got them.
send them to me, then
Sure.
that's fine.
Yep.
And how long are they generally? 4 sentences?
If that's too much.
Is it?
Oh, Mr. Chair,